Good evening and thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. This is the World News at 6. My name is Esther Mwachiko and here are the top stories. Nnamdi Kanu admits smuggling Biafra radio transmitter into Anambra. Witness discloses to court today. Abuja explosion, not suicide bombing. Nyesom Wiki FCT minister clarifies. Also, parents of abducted children cry out in Kanu, disclose they are in pains. Also, Governor Muftwang apologizes with tears to Plateau residents concerning the recent massacre. In a very recent development, the federal government is to pay students 45,000 naira monthly stipend. President Tinubu not requesting $20 billion loan as widely reported, Presidency clarifies. And on stories outside the shores of Nigeria, UN blasts new US-backed aid distribution system in Gaza. Details now. Thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. A federal government witness today on Nnamdi Kanu's terrorism trial has disclosed to the Abuja Federal High Court that the IPOB leader admitted smuggling the Biafran radio transmitter into Anambra State in 2015. The witness, codenamed PW3C, an operative of the Department of State Service, said that Kanu, while being interrogated, confessed to setting up the radio station at a particular community in Iyala local government area of Anambra State. At the resumption of trial today, the DSS witness also informed the court that Kanu admitted that he established Radio Biafra to advance the self-determination cause of the people of Southeast region of the country. The DSS had earlier in the month tendered audio recordings of Kanu's broadcast from the radio station as exhibits, in which the defendant was heard calling for the killing of several prominent Nigerians. The DSS officer in that particular development told the court that Kanu's broadcast incited many of his supporters to carry out attacks on some prominent Nigerians, especially all the Nigerians in other states and institutions. The PWCCC, a third prosecution witness, told the court today that Kanu on November 4, 2015, in an interview with his colleagues, admitted smuggling a radio transmitter into Nigeria. The video clip of the November 4, 2015 interview session with DSS officers where Kanu admitted inspecting the radio transmitter he installed in Anambra State was played in court and admitted as an exhibit. In the particular development as well, while reacting to the situation, drama, however, ensued when the federal government, through its lawyer Adigboyega Awomolo, tendered one of the statements made by Kanu. In the unfolding drama, Kanu, after being shown the statement by his lead lawyer, Chief Kanu Agabi, claimed that he made it under duress and not voluntarily. He also claimed that the statement in which he severely indicted himself on some unlawful actions of the indigenous people of Biafra was made without the presence of his lawyer. Based on the allegations, Justice James Omotosho ordered that trial within trial be conducted to ascertain the genuineness of Kanu's allegations. Among others, Kanu said the coercion started from Lagos when they were transporting him from Lagos to Abuja, where a DSS officer struck him, chained and blindfolded him. During cross-examination by Awomolo, Kanu maintained that his detention at the DSS in 2015 was without any court order and that his interview were taken without his lawyers and the atmosphere was not conducive. The PWAAA, however, debunked Kanu's allegations, saying the interview were conducted in the most conducive and harmonious atmosphere. He urged the court in that particular instance to dismiss the allegations of being baseless, unfounded, and an afterthought. After the argument, Justice Omotosho addressed to President Bola Tinubu, which has yielded no conversation between the presidency and the Yoruba nation movement. The statement reads in part that, please, Mr. President, grant us, your Yoruba people, that which we have asked for in our separate letters to your predecessor, President Buhari, and to you. What we have asked is that you, as the President of Nigeria, should facilitate negotiation between representatives of the Nigerian federal government and of our Yoruba people to negotiate our nation's peaceful separation from Nigeria. Forcibly keeping us in Nigeria is only prolonging our people's abominable deprivations, insecurity, and pains. Please act on this without delay. Akintoye claimed that the Yoruba people are embattled and harassed, alleging indiscriminate arrest of Yoruba youth, which he said is aimed at intimidating the youth. Elsewhere, the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has dismissed reports of suicide bombing in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Well, you do know that reports emerged on Monday that an explosion along Mararaba bypass was perpetrated by a suicide bomber. But speaking on Wednesday during a project inspection in Abuja, the minister dismissed the report. According to him, the victim had ignorantly carried on explosive material from a quarry site which exploded on him. The FCT Police Public Relations Officer, SP Josephine Ade, had in a statement said a victim sustained serious injury and was immediately rushed to the hospital for medical attention. Well, parents of kidnapped children in Kano say they are in immense pain as the world celebrates Children's Day worldwide. The chairman of the Coalition of Parents for the Abducted Children in Kano State, Comrade Ismaila Ibrahim Mohammed, disclosed to correspondents that they are still waiting for a miracle to happen in order to secure the kidnapped children. He went further by calling the state government to revert to the outstanding issue of children stolen from their homes. Mohammed also said they are pained and frustrated, urging for more vigilance from other parents to prevent such from happening. Recall that there had been an uproar in the north following the abduction of some children to the southeast and south-south, where it was alleged that their names and identities had been changed. Well, VOP News understands that it was a chilling story of the children's plights in the two regions in one of its special reports. Meanwhile, Governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, has apologized to residents of the state over the failure of the government to prevent another deadly attack that claimed the lives of over 50 people. The tragic incident, which occurred in the early hours of Monday, left the community in mourning as gunmen stormed the area, killing dozens, razing homes, displacing hundreds barely 2 weeks after a similar attack in Boka's local government area resulted in the death scores. In a video actually shared via a monitored television program, Mutfwang, during a visit to the Zike community in Basa local government area, broke down in tears on Tuesday, saying he had never envisaged that such an attack will happen, considering the arrangement the state government had put in place. The governor, accompanied by security chiefs and members of the State Executive Council, visited the grieving community to commiserate with the families of the victims and assess the scale of destruction. He appealed to the people to provide timely intelligence that could help prevent future attacks. Now, the federal government of Nigeria has unveiled plans to start paying students attending technical colleges nationwide a monthly stipend of 45,000 naira. The executive secretary of the National Board for Technical Education, Professor Idris Bugaje, who revealed this in an interview with correspondents in Abuja, said the motive is to promote interest in technical education. According to him, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had allocated 120 billion naira grant to support students under the new Technical and Vocational Education and Training Initiative to be disbursed through the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. He lamented that the interest in technical and vocational education has been dwindling over the years, and there is a need to revive it and encourage enrollment in technical education. While justifying the move, the Bugaje submitted that students involved in technical training in schools would acquire skills qualification, get jobs locally, and even beyond the borders of Nigeria. Well, the presidency has refuted reports that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is seeking to borrow $20 billion in a single move, clarifying that recent correspondence to the National Assembly has been widely misinterpreted. The clarification was made by the Special Assistant on Social Media to the President, Dada Olusegun, in a statement posted on his verified X handle. He explained that the President's communication was part of the 2025-2026 medium-term expenditure framework, which outlines projected borrowing needs across both federal and state governments over a 2-year period. Olusegun further clarified that the plan consolidates proposed foreign borrowings into a single framework to streamline the legislative process and avoid repeated Senate approvals. He stressed that states require federal guarantees to access international funds and that the National Assembly's approval does not equate to immediate or full utilization of the proposed amounts. The presidential aide added that loans in themselves are not bad instruments of financing public services. What Nigerians must focus on is how such loans are being utilized by the government. These are the questions that should be asked. You're currently listening to the World News at 6 right here in Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into a news analysis segment. I actually have Mr. Dele Fanimo right here in the studio, who will give us his perspective to the issues that will be discussed right here on the World News at 6. To kindly stay with us. All right, welcome back. Thank you for joining us right here in Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Mr. Dele Fanimo, good evening and thank you for joining us today.
Good evening, Esther.
Good evening.
It's my pleasure to be here again.
It's so unfortunate what is currently happening. There was another attack in Plateau State. More than 50 persons were killed. Governor Caleb Mutfwang, while going through the process, was apologizing to the residents in that community, saying that they did not envisage all of this. They did not envisage this happening. And the questions arose to the president, and the president had actually spoken to Caleb Mutfwang by saying that you know the problem here, try and resolve it. State of emergency have been called on several occasions to be implemented in states that are experiencing this volatility, specifically Plateau State, I think Kano State, that's yes, one of the northern states, two of the northern states going through this crisis, and Benue State. Is it the crying that will help Nigerians understand the situation on ground?
You see, the tardiness of government in this is deafening. And it's quite unfortunate that we have not seen anybody, particularly our lawyers, filing petition at the ICC for crime against humanity, against our governors, against our president. Because the president and the presidency, they have all the wherewithal to deal with these marauders. But unfortunately, they allow them to roam freely, strike at will, retreat, go back again to strike.
It's become a persistent nation. The thing, now, Mr. Dele Fanimo, the unfortunate thing is the brazen attack. Because I need you to land this. There's an APC chieftain who said that we know the people causing this, but unfortunately they cannot do anything. And Nigerians should not blame the president for the insecurity in the country.
Zulum said it.
So why is the government afraid to tackle these people? Because this particular chieftain said, don't blame President Tinubu for insecurity. You only said it. So if they know these individuals, Mr. Dele Fanimo, what is the fear?
It's not about fear. It's about enlightening selfish interests. Somebody wants to go for a second time, and when he knows that from that constituency you have the larger chunk of votes you expect to win an election, and you just pretend as if nothing is happening. And when you win your second term, you also gloss over issues, and after your tenure, another person inherits. You see, for me, the question you keep asking yourself is, why did it take Saudi Arabia to embarrass Nigeria by sending Gumi back to Nigeria? And government cannot act.
They haven't even responded.
No, they said they were going to engage Saudi authorities.
That is what Gumi said, that the Nigerian government was going to engage Saudi authorities. But no Nigerian official has come out to attest to what Gumi said.
You can see the arrogance in Gumi, the audacity in Gumi, the unbridled courage against the state. And this guy is referenced to the point that he's almost behaving like a semi-god.
Mr. Dele Fanimo, do you know that tomorrow, being May 29, will commemorate the 2 years of this administration? Do you know that one of the major things denting the mark staining this administration is insecurity. I don't understand the nonchalancy or lackadaisical attitude. Mr. Delefanimo, before the president traveled to Rome, the chief of defense staff, after the particular terrorist group called Shekau, do you know they called Christopher Musa out, General Christopher Musa? They called him out. They threatened him. General Christopher Musa came out from the meeting with the president before he traveled to Rome to tell us that they have everything under control. The following day, there was an attack. Now in Plateau State, a fresh crisis. The governor is crying like they don't know what to do. Gumi was brought back to the country. The Nigerian government on several occasions, they know the affiliation Gumi has with these terrorists. They know their enclaves. They cannot tell Gumi to direct them to their enclave.
Why should you tell Gumi to direct
What I am trying to say is that if this APC chieftain is telling us that based on selfish interests, certain stakeholders in Nigeria are finding insecurity plaguing the nation, if it is going to be something deliberately done to dent the administration of this government, why are they not taking a precise action just like they did in Rivers State? Why is it that they don't have the military or whatever might to handle this?
Now, the question, you see, there are so many dimensions to this insecurity. See, insecurity thrives where the locals also support. You don't have to even go too far.
The locals also support. Locals that have been subdued.
No, locals where these people take off from.
Okay.
They don't reside in those communities where they kill people.
Are you sure?
They don't.
In some instances, some of the victims say they know some of these persons when they come around.
I am telling you that they don't reside in that community. How will you kill and still roam about in that community? No matter how weak that community is, they will lay ambush and kill you. What they do is they come, subdue, kill, rape, and maim, and retreat.
Did you hear what happened recently in Kanu? A DPO who was bludgeoned and murdered by mobs in Kanu State. The same set of persons who called out and threatened several tribal ethnicities when that thing happened are mute in this regard. They haven't said anything. A DPO. And from the story I read, they said the DPO took one of them, almost beat the person to death or something, and it was a revenge tactic. It was a mob attack in broad daylight. They were doing what they were doing. So my question is, don't you think that this has handicapped the security intelligence of this government? Kidnapping is the order of the day. People can't travel by road. Flight is very expensive. This also discourages investors to go to certain regions in the country. If this persistent situation occurs, would we call it a conspiracy of the government against the people?
You see, everything you have said points to one direction: lack of political will. I tell you, our Air Force, our Army, and the Navy, they are equal to the task. Give them free hand today, within 3 weeks maximum. Banditry, terrorism, you see them no more. But in a situation where some governors are making huge capital from this problem, would they want it to go? No. Some military brass are making huge capital. How do the governors make huge capital? Every time there is crisis in your state, your security vote increases. Now, ask a top military officer today to choose between going to Niger Delta or going to Northeast or Northwest. I'm sure some of them will choose Northeast and Northwest. They know there is risk involving being in the Northwest or Northeast, but the dividend that comes with it is higher than that of Niger Delta today, because Niger Delta is relatively peaceful now. So for me, I am sure, and I've had interactions with some military officers. I tell you, if government is desirous of ending this, these are ragtag army, these are ragtag elements. with little training.
Well,
And then you have military that had gone on several peacekeeping missions and they have been awarded medals. Why is it difficult for them to do what they are supposed to do here?
well, Mr.
What is
Dekanwa,
the strength of Niger military
We have
that
very-
they sent Tolji out of Niger?
We will discuss this further during the evening rush. Let's look at the breakaway faction by the Yoruba nation. To them, they're asking for the
It's
president.
not a breakaway fashion.
Okay, fine. Are you saying that? Okay, just hold on. Well, an organization, they are
Yes.
calling themselves that they've been writing from the previous administration to break away from Nigeria. They say that the president should negotiate with them because to him or to them, forcibly keeping them in Nigeria is causing them more pains. This statement was made by a leader of a Yoruba self-determination movement. His name is Banji Akintoye.
He's a professor of history.
He's calling on the president. So do you think he's speaking in the voice of the generality of the entire Yoruba race?
I'm a Yoruba,
Okay.
and he has my support.
He has your support?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Are you saying you're not benefiting from the government of the day?
I'm not.
Okay, hold on. There's a saying that the North and the Southwest are husband and wives politically. When it comes to politics and political conversation and benefits, the North and the South in this country benefit more. They also feel that the Southwest is more of an advantage, when it comes to certain, platitudes. But the big question is this. Based on his letter that he's writing to the president, he's saying that a lot of their youths are being deprived, harassed, intimidated, thrown in jail for reasons that cannot count for. Is it the government that does it, or is certain individuals who have the political connection that do certain things against their own people? I really want to understand the concept of this breakaway faction, because this is not Sunday Igboho. And secondly, this is the
Sunday
same thing.
Igboho is just like ECN and IPOB in the Southeast.
ESN.
ESN, yes.
Yes. Okay, but it's just like what Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for. Self-determination. So how do you call a president who knows this to be supposedly unconstitutional to negotiate with you to break away from a country that he's the president of?
Let me tell you. That's why sometimes when people harass some of us that are from the Southeast,
Southwest.
Southwest,
Yeah.
you see, the same pain we feel here is what the Southeasterners feel.
Are you sure?
But the gravity may be different.
Okay.
Let me tell you, anytime I think about Nigeria, I feel just changed.
You feel shortchanged?
Yes. I'll give you reasons.
Okay.
Why should they take crude from Ondo and then use the money to develop Kano?
Okay.
Bitumen deposit in Ondo State, my state, is about the third largest in the world. And over 50 years that has been discovered, nobody can touch it because it's in the exclusive list of federal government. Now, port is in Lagos. What accrues from the port does not benefit Southwest.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Wow.
Because they pull the resources and take it to Abuja, and Abuja slices it at will.
But it happens to every other region.
That's what I'm saying. You see, when there was a regional government, before the military struck and made it unitary, Southeast was developing at its own pace. Southwest was developing. We had the first television station. We have the tallest building.
Yeah.
And there was no crude oil at this time. Yet we were developing. Southeast was developing. Now imagine a scenario where Southeast will be independent and Southwest will be independent. Then South will be independent. We can come as a confederacy.
Okay.
With a weak center. And then you see how technology will sprout in the Southeast. You see how commerce.
You think the Southwesterners are marginalized?
Of course.
Wow.
Of course. I've not been able to see, apart from these politicians that are not even serving the interest of their communities and their constituents. Show me any politician that somebody that is given 2 billion constituency project, he will now use 500 million naira to service his constituency just once in 4 years. Is that dividend of democracy?
Well, Mr. Diddy,
I can tell you that businesses will start relocating to these regions if we have true regionalism. Southwest will develop at its pace. Southeast, do you know why there is widespread corruption? It is simply because what belongs to everybody belongs to no one.
All right,
you can't be my governor in Ondo State with a weak ceremonial president, maybe in Ibadan, and you say you want to steal from the bitumen you are tapping in that state. What betides your family?
Mr. Diddy Fanimo, we need to wrap up now because we have a program coming up. I really would have loved us to extend on this conversation, but we'll talk about that on the evening rush. Do join us at 7 o'clock. We'll expand more on this during the evening rush at 7. And that's a wrap on the world news at 6. My name is Esther Wachuku. Good evening and thank you for listening.